Hey there, everybody. Robert Taylor with Wonderscape Creations doing another video for our magical AOE spell. We're going to do something that I generally do not encourage. And if you have the time and the patience, I would recommend doing this the correct way. That way, you don't have to mess with anything that was created in the sample. But me, because I'm doing a bunch of testing on a project to get these abilities working, and then going to properly set them up in my actual project after we're done with the series. So before the next update, I don't care that much. So if we come up, we need to open up our player character. If you're using your own, fantastic, open that up. Um, we need to get down here to the ACF ability system component. And then in your default ability set, hopefully you are using your own. If you're not, I would recommend duplicating the one that the sample has and using that one. Open it up and scroll all the way down until you find the action.spells.meteor rain, which is what we're doing to, summon that decal. In the area size, I changed it to 600 and 600. You can have whatever size you want. But that's all I changed in this one because I'm still using drop meteor. Now, in my own project, I'm obviously going to have a spell that's called summon AOE spell. And that's what this one will be. And then I will have one that actually does the meteor spell. So the naming I need to come up with. But for testing purposes, I just use meteor rain and then drop meteor. So this one could be um, actions.spells.AOE and then actions.spells.summon AOE. Whatever. Either way, do this how you want. But anyways, once we have the meteor rain, the area that we want, the size that you want it, we can minimize that one. And in the drop meteor spell, so spells.drop meteor, we will change the meteor one to the action we made in the last episode. And when you do that, you're going to have quite a few things. Obviously, you have the normal actions config. I'm using the exact same animation montage that the drop meteor spell uses because it has the notify that will do everything that we need. So that's all that we need. We're going to, in this episode, get the ground effect working. So make sure it says ground effect. You can have the spell duration for as long as you want. I have it set to 20 seconds right now. And for the spell projectile, it should already be filled with the spell projectile. Spawn height, you can set that. We created the spawn rate curve in the first episode, so you place that here. Oh, we don't. Never mind. Ignore the rain. We're not doing the rain. We're doing area. So minimize the rain. Open up the area. Pulse frequency, I have set at 1 second. Area damage types, I have the ACF fire damage type. That's all I'm using. You can have more if you want. For now, that's all I care about. Area particles, I'm using the aura circle underscore fire underscore 2 that the sample project has. There are no Niagaras. Chance to apply status effects. True. And then I have the frozen at a 0.5%. No, not 0.5, at a 5%. And a poison status at a 5%. So I have that set up. That way, when we test it, when we're done, everything in theory should work. So now let's go back to our ground ability here. And in here, you should only have the start pulse event right here and the start setup variables. This is all that you should have right now. assuming you followed along correctly in the last episode. So now, close that. We don't need it. We don't need any of these. So now we need to set up everything else. The very first thing we need to make sure that we do once we have the variables is set up the collision component. So go ahead and create a function and call it setup collision component. And within here, we need to make sure that we get to the ACF collision manager, pull out of it to set actor owner, and get the instigator. Then we need to get actor owner, pull out of there, and cast to ACF character. Now, it's okay that we're casting to ACF character because the ACF character is already loaded into memory, because ACF character is you. So you don't have to worry about performance losses or gains from this. This is okay. Now we'll go ahead and pull out of the ACF character and search for Get Combat Team. And then you're going to right click and search for the ACF Team, if I can spell team, Manager Subsystem. Now in the subsystem, you'll pull out and find Get Hostile Collision Channels. You plug in the team there and get the ACF Collision Manager component again and search for Add Collision Channels and plug that in. And that's all you need for that function. And that's ready to go. Make sure you set that up after set variables. The next thing we want to do is set the lifespan of this ability. And once you search for set lifespan, you'll get the duration that we made in the last episode and set it in the lifespan. That way, once the lifespan's done and over with, it just ends everything for us. The next thing we need to do is set up the visuals. So the AOE circle that we're seeing. So create a function again called setup visuals and open it up. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the particle systems. We're going to make sure it's not empty, because if it's empty, this is going to return a bunch of errors. We don't want to deal with that. So we'll go into false. If it's true, we'll do a for each loop. So that for each of them, we spawn emitter, we pull out of here, spawn emitter attached. We want it attached to something because down the road we may want it to follow the enemies. No, that's not part of this video series, but now it'll be possible. Anyways, you're going to attach it to the default scene route. We don't need to give the attach point a name, but you can if you want. We're going to get the actor location and set it up as the location. Damage radius does not need to be there. And I have keep world position, pooling method, all of this just like that. And then end to completed. Now, you may decide that you want to have a Niagara effect and a cascade effect, which is why I have this plugged in the way that it is. Out of the false and out of the complete, we have a branch where we're checking the Niagara system to see if it is empty as well. If it is, we're returning. If it's empty, we're returning. If it's not, we're doing another loop. Pull out the array element, spawn system attached, do the exact same thing that's right here. And that is all we need for the setup visuals. Once we're done there, we need pulse damage. So go ahead and create a function called pulse damage. We're going to open it up. As you can see, this one is a very simple one. We're going to get the ACF Collision Manager component, pull out of it, perform area damage single. So that means it'll do the damage once. That's it. Now there is a perform area damage for duration. but some of the abilities have not been working. Some of the functions have not been working, so I just went with the traditional method. If you want to try it this way, you most certainly can. Because then for duration, you would put the lifespan, damage intervals, you would put the pulse frequency. So it's certainly something you can try. You know what? We'll go ahead and give that a try right now. Click on that. I'm going to pause it so that if it doesn't work, we don't have to worry about anything. Yeah, don't do that. It doesn't work. Most likely because there's no damage type. That's why I chose it. Now that I remember, did it because we need the damage type to override. Oh my goodness. I made a boo-boo. We're going to fix that right now here live. This is only getting the first damage type. So let's go ahead and fix that. Instead of doing that, let's get for each loop. Body. Plug that in right there. There. See, even though I combed over everything, there's still something I missed. That's the second thing, I believe. And that's fine. That's another reason I do these things, to find stuff I missed. So, we want to make sure that we have it plugged in just like this. Compile and save. Next thing we want to do is we want to set timer by function name. Pulse damage. The pulse frequency will be, the function name is pulse damage. The time will be the pulse frequency. Make sure you mark is looping. Pull out of the return value to create a timer handle. Now, once we've done that, the next thing we need to do is on actor damaged. So if you come up here to the collision manager component, right click, add event, find the on actor damaged. The first thing we want to do is pull out our Boolean. Now, for those of you who don't know how to do this, you get it. You right click, convert to branch. And now it's a branch. Saves you a node, takes as much time as pulling out a branch, plugging it in, and all that stuff. Might as well use it, right? So, is there a chance to apply an effect? False, do nothing. True, let's continue. Grab our status effects, pull out of there, and find a for each loop. I believe this was added in 5.6, so if you're in 5.5, I am sorry. You'll have to do keys for each loop. Select? No, not select. And then map. Let's see here. Is it find? Yes. Then find. And then that's how you can get everything we need. Sorry, that's just how you'll have to do it if you don't have the for each loop for maps. Now, from this for each loop, we will pull out of the map value and search for random bool with weight. So this is what we will do to apply an effect. Now, I know people are going to say, well, we have the try apply status. Yes, you do. However, that you're going to get an error because it's not getting the instigator properly anymore since we moved to gas. Pask is aware of it. It may get changed. It may not. Either way, it's not a big deal. As you can see, it's not that hard to do. Delete. Don't need that print string anymore. Um, anyways, pull out of the weight for a branch. If it does return the appropriate value, it's true. So we need to create the effect. So in order to do that, we need to actually pull out of the damage receiver, get component by class, ACF status effect component, pull out of there for create and apply status effect. The status effect is the key map, and the instigator is get instigator. Now, like I said, in the future, we're going to have our own um, manager for gas-based status effects, pulling away from this one, as there are some limitations and some intricate issues that cannot be solved without going into C++ anyways. So we'll just make our own, and once it's made, we'll decide how we will release it to the public. And once it's released, we'll do another video updating all of this from that status system to this one. Now, the next thing we need to do is, and it's spelled death. Is this being used? No, it's not. Don't need this. I had something there that was not needed. Then, once we are done there, oh wait, yes it is. I know where it's being used. It's being used in what's in the actor that called it. Actually, no, we definitely don't need that. We don't need it because we're making sure this spell ends on its own. Because we have the set lifespan and we have this handle, we don't want it to just be chilling out in the ether for any number of time. We want to end it as quickly as possible. So event end play, we will get the handle clear and invalidate timer by handle. And that is it. Everything should work. Compile and save. There's one thing I will need to fix now before we can test everything out. It's in here. Yep. I removed them. Come in here. Right there. So we don't need that anymore. File and save. There we go. So now, go ahead and hit play. For me, because I'm using the default, holding down 8 to get the spell. Okay, it's doing its damage. And as you can see right there, that's what I'm talking about. There's just some things that can't be helped. There's nothing wrong with that. And that person is dead. Now we're going to make sure that the ability does end. And as you can see, it ended. We are good to go. So that is the end of this episode. And the next one, we will get the magic bolt working, the rain effect working as well. Now, for those of you who aren't sure how to get your spell to proc, here, for those of you who don't need it, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. For those of you who are unsure, I will show you how Pask has everything set up, and then you can make your own decisions. So we come in here into the gas player. We're going to open this up. We're going to keep hitting the pencil until we get to, I believe it's the full inputs. Yeah. Spells right here. So an ACF full player BP. He has everything set right here to the input 1, input 2, input 3, and input 4. So if we go ahead and take a look at how he's doing it, he has everything happening through a slot manager. You don't have to use this if you don't want to. You can always just get the ACF ability system component to trigger action ability and trigger the tag. Essentially, that's what he's doing here. Because if we go to the ACF slot manager component, we take a look here in spell slots. He has the dot fireball, dot frostball, dot bless, and dot meteor rain. Meteor rain is this one right here. As you can see, everything is set up how he wants it while using this. But at the same time, you can just remove these because it's not necessarily needed. I can even show you. I do this, and I make you the. We come back up here to this here. So meteor rain. I believe it's still just meteor rain. Compile and save. Make sure 9 has nothing. No, it does not. Okay, so yeah, 8. Look at that. Still works. So, this way, for those of you who are doing UI stuff and you want to, drag spells into slots, you could set it up that way. Do your own system. But yeah, that's how it works in the traditional sense and in the ACFU sense. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will 100% see you in the next episode.